to our boxing flow because it's going down on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to this fight. Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol is going down now. Will Dmitry Bivol's skills be enough to overcome Artur Beterbiev's power? And Zay, before you go, I want to play this short 9-second clip, and then you can proceed.
Change one thing about boxing, what would it be?
Instead of 12 rounds, 24 rounds.
Psychotic. Okay. Only a demon would think of something like that. But go ahead, Zay. The mic is yours.
Man, first of all, Kenny, a couple of weeks ago, I think a month ago, I could be mistaken. Hopefully, he's still watching the show. He said that Beterbiev will get knocked out within 6 rounds. With 6 to 7 rounds, that he will be knocked out. And I was thinking, is it possible? Because Dmitry Bivol, he's a guy who's patient. He takes on the volume. I don't know if he could take on the power of Beterbiev. That's something that I'm confused on what's gonna happen here. It's really how much gas does Beterbiev have in the tank versus Bivol? Because Bivol is a patient fighter. He will take on the volume of punches, and he will essentially wait the guy out to get gassed, and then unleash the combinations on the opponent later in the rounds. We saw it against Canelo. He let Canelo throw as much as he wanted and let him throw as many combinations and all these different things. But Bivol was very persistent, very disciplined, and then he knew when it was time to strike, and he unleashed combinations left, right, up, down. And I think the volume that Bivol's willing to essentially take in to then dish out later in the fights is where Beterbiev could lose his fight. It's gonna take a lot of freaking heart and pride to take on the power that Beterbiev unleashes, because Beterbiev he's a brick wall. I don't even know, like the man's fists are made of steel, Wolverine. So it's gonna be difficult.
You look like Wolverine too.
It's gonna be difficult for Bivol but I think that's the way I can see this fight happening. Bivol only wins if he goes 12 and he's willing to take on that onslaught of abuse and then dish it out later in the rounds when Beterbiev is tired. It's gonna be tough. I think his skills can be enough to overcome Beterbiev's power, to answer the question.
Yeah, I mean, look, the biggest X factor to me is, can Beterbiev cut off the ring against Bivol? That's the biggest X factor, because we talk about his power, and sure, we've seen a lot of stories about sparring sessions with Bivol. With Beterbiev. I saw like a compilation last night with all these fighters. I mean, I almost played it on the clip, but with boxing content, when you play certain things, they flag you. It's very sensitive, posting boxing content on YouTube or whatever. So I'm not even taking that risk. But the amount of stories that we hear in regards to Beterbiev and the power and what we see in his fights. I mean, I believe 20 fights that he had, all didn't go the distance because he has thunderous power. Now, in order to showcase that, will he be able to cut off the ring against the smart, wise Bivol? And I think in order for him to do that, because I will give a solution to my question, is his footwork will definitely lead to his ability to cut off the ring, which will allow him to fully maximize that power, being able to land something destructive on Bivol. Now, the problem is Bivol is always in good condition, right? He's not one of those fighters that have stamina issues. He's in good condition. We saw that when he fought Canelo as well. When Canelo was hitting him with punches to the shoulder, because Canelo's a guy that can, physically break you down. He's that strong, even though he's moving up in weight. He moved up in weight to fight Bivol. Still, I was very impressed with his conditioning throughout that fight and in other fights as well. Now, we all know Beterbiev is not younger. He's clearly older. Guy's touching 40. So Bivol should be able to move and test that injury, that torn meniscus that Beterbiev sustained in I believe leading up to this fight that had to get the fight postponed. So if I'm him, I'm definitely testing that out. Now, if you look at Beterbiev's fight against Gvozdyk, right, the guy that fought Benavidez recently, Gvozdyk made a lot of mistakes, right? He did not use his legs, which I can't blame him because that's not his game. But he had the jab. We all know he has a power jab, and he had success in the fight, but he wasn't able to utilize his legs. Everybody's talking about, the key to victory is the jab. right? I see Shakur Stevenson. I saw him on Twitter, on X, excuse me, because it's known as X now. He tweeted, "Whoever establishes the jab in the Bivol Beterbiev fight is going to win the fight." Now, while the jab is going to be very crucial to winning the fight, it's going to come down to Bivol using his legs and moving around. That's the key here. Okay, like I said, Gosvidic had more power than Bivol. Bivol is not a guy known for power. Now, Gosvidic had a power jab, and Beterbiev was still able to get past the jab and systematically break Gosvidic down. Okay, so the key here for Bivol, right, is to jab and move around. Using his legs is going to be crucial to beating Beterbiev, especially a guy coming off a torn meniscus. You want to test that foot. You want to move around. You want to make sure he's not able to cut off the ring, which is my X factor, him cutting off the ring.
Yeah, I think cutting off the ring, but you can say that about I want to keep it specific to this fight, right? Because these two guys are prone to sitting in the middle of that ring. They'll sit in the middle of the ring and they will unleash punches. Like Bivol is not a guy who's gonna be playing the ropes or trying to play like run around and stuff like that. He's gonna be in the middle of the ring with Beterbiev, right? And it's gonna be at the point where whose will is gonna break first. Right, and that's where I'm really trying to focus on there, because I think Beterbiev is the guy who throws a lot of punches and he throws a lot of power punches. If he gets tired, will his will break and he starts to become more lax, throw less punches as the fight continues, which could play a huge role in Bivol and give him a positive impact. Because Bivol, once he senses a guy is winded, a guy is no longer throwing with the same velocity that he was throwing early in the fight, that's when he attacks. That's when he starts to strike. When the guy is tired and gassed, oh, now it's my time. Now I'm about to unleash the world of pain. And I think that's something that Beterbiev has to be careful of, because he could get knocked down in that situation. If he's too tired to throw punches, at the volume that you were throwing them, you're too tired to defend yourself. You're too tired to protect your vital points. Because then what's you gotta think about it too. When the guy is tired, their most vulnerable part of their defense is the body. That's where the guy's gonna punch, because that's where all your lungs and everything is at. So you start hitting with the kidney and you're gassed for air and stuff like that. Guess what? Beterbiev is down. He ain't getting back up once you get a kidney shot, gassed. So it's going to be interesting what happens here, especially the way Bivol fights. He lets guys tire themselves out, and then he starts to attack. So I think Beterbiev has to be careful, because if he's not confident that he can knock this guy out within 5-6 rounds, you got to fight for the long game. You're going to have to, like Shakur said, throw the jab. Be patient. Don't gas yourself out trying to knock this guy out within 3 to 4 rounds, because if you feel like you don't got it to do it, and you know this guy's a smart fighter, you got to protect yourself for 12 rounds. Instead of trying to knock him out in the first, try to knock him out in the 12th when you got all that energy and you have a lot of energy to strike. It might be a boring fight. It might be if these guys fight smart. But knowing how these two guys fight, it's going to be one of those slugfests where we're going to have to see who is the one that lasts out the other.
I mean, look, I have no doubts in my mind that Bivol has the skills that it takes to beat Beterbiev. And I have no doubts in my mind that he will execute the game plan needed to win this fight. The doubt in my mind, which is a question in my mind, is will that game plan hold up? Can he avoid trading blows in the pocket with Beterbiev for 12 rounds? Can he avoid those inside engaging? Okay, because that's not a guy that you want to go blow for blow, right? But there may come a time where he has to stand in the wind of fire. And what happens then? What happens when Beterbiev lands one, right? We all know he's imposing. He's strong. Like a lot of people talk about the power. Yes, the power is the power. But physically, if you watch guys that spar him, they talk about how strong Beterbiev is. Like you cannot engage and trade blows with Beterbiev, and there may come a time in the fight where he has to. Now, I think a lot of people don't give, Bivol credit for his counterpunching. He's a very good counterpuncher. So that may play a role as well. But I agree with Kenny in his comment. I've been watching a little bit of the interviews and stuff like that, and the press conferences, and Bivol, I don't like to read too much into that, because at the end of the day, these guys got to go in the ring and fight. And maybe the energy you put in to fight week may be a different energy when you're walking into the ring. Like, I don't want to really look too deep into that, But when I look at Beterbiev in his interviews, he looks confident. You know, he looks like he's not giving Bivol that much respect, right? Which Bivol is giving him a lot of respect. But like I said, I don't want to look too deep into that. But I guess it's time for me to go on my prediction, right? Moment of truth here. I've been stalling. I haven't made a predetermined pick prior to the show. This is literally coming right now based on everything that I've talked about. I'm going to go with Beterbiev to win this fight. Round 11, TKO or KO, whatever. I just think his opposition is going to pay homage because if you look at both fighters' resume, Beterbiev's opposition is definitely superior than Bivol's. I mean, you're talking about Alexander Gazvedic. Listen, I'm saying no homo, no diddy. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's last name. Okay, I still can't. Anthony Yarde, Callum Smith, those are superior fighters to Bivol's resume, and I think he's seen a lot of styles Beterbiev has, and I don't think cutting off the ring is going to be an issue later on in the fight. It may be an issue early on, but it's only so much you can move around around the ring that it's going to take to avoid a guy like Beterbiev with his thunderous power. I'm going to go with Beterbiev round 11 KO.
I think for me, I think I got Bivol winning this fight. I think it goes the distance. I don't think there's no knockout. I think it goes the distance. I think Bivol wins just based on the later rounds. I think that's what it comes down to. It's going to be between rounds 8 to 12. I have Bivol winning. And it's going to be based on what he does in those rounds. That's going to be so dominating. We thinking the fight flipped on itself. I think Beterbiev wins the early rounds because of his power, because of what he possesses, and he's going to throw a little bit early. He's going to throw more early on. But as the fight dwindles down by round, you're going to see Bivol go up in the amount of punches landed and a lot of more punches thrown. We've seen it before, and I'm gonna see it again. He knows how to fight these the top tier fighters. He knows how to fight these elite guys who, in their minds, they think they're the best of the best, and they have the power, the equalizer, as I like to say, to essentially take over the fight. And I think Bivol is accustomed to taking on that kind of volume of punches, and he's gonna basically relinquish all of the damage that he'll take on. So give me Bivol to win in a decision.
Look, any thoughts about Beterbiev's age? Do you think it will, be a fact in this fight? Because, prior to tomorrow, I think excuse me, I don't know why I'm getting a call. I think Beterbiev has done an amazing job with his endurance for his age. We don't see guys typically at his age be able to have the same movement, the same footwork, the same endurance, the stamina at his age. And it's like he's almost like the LeBron James of boxing when it comes to his endurance. Do you think because he sustained that meniscus injury prior to this fight that both of those things, the age, the injuries, may play a role in why that may sway Bivol winning for you? Does that sway the victory for you?
I think you could say that. I think Father Time catches up all of us, and I think probably this is his father time after a long career in the ring, and also what he's doing in the ring when he's fighting. And you're fighting a guy who has a stamina and an endurance in that ring. So that's another component, right? You're not fighting another guy who's out there trying to be flashy, trying to knock you out. You're facing against a guy who's willing to wait and be patient. And if you want to go out there and try to prove yourself, he will let you go out there and do whatever you think you need to do, but then he'll show you why it is that he's the guy champion. He's the one winning in this ring. And I think Bivol, his endurance, I think that's gonna be the main factor between them two, is the endurance. The meniscus tear, like a guy could recover from a meniscus tear and have a great training camp and be good and like solid coming in, but it's tough. It's tough for a guy 39 years old to come in and attack to peak form and do it again. I would love to be wrong. I would love to see him be successful, but I think Bivol, unfortunately,
that's why the key is moving around.
Correct.
If I'm Bivol, that's the key, the jab, and make sure you move around the ring and test that, foot if you're Bivol. So we'll see what happens. But is there any last words? Or are we ready to go forward with our take for 99?
We are ready to go for our take for 99. Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, or leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.